Kanan?
For Jedi Order at full. This is Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. This message is a warning for any surviving Jedi. Is a warning, Dark Shadow. This is a warning.
Oh, greetings, Bucketheads. Mavar Tigar. Welcome to a little special bonus baby episode of Mendovision. Nargai Tom, and thank you so much for checking out our small independent Star Wars podcast. We're so glad you're here. Remember to reach out to us on social media. We're at Mando_Vision. Still on Twitter. Also on Instagram. Probably noticed that I spend more time on Instagram anyways. And Twitter. Is it Twitter anymore? It's got a big X icon on it now. I don't know. I think it may be time to switch to that blue sky thing. Someone send me an invite so I can use it. Good grief. Anyways, find us over there. Reach out to us. We do appreciate it. You can also send us emails in long form over at mendivisiontom@gmail.com. A reminder to please make sure you're liking, subscribing, following, and sharing the show with all the Mandalorians in your covert. Well, how is everyone doing? Hope your summers are going well. If you've had a chance to go on vacation and travel around, I hope it's been successful and stress-free. We've been plugging away this summer here on the podcast. And before I kind of get into those show-related aspects, we do have a tiny bit of Star Wars news. You know, we don't do a ton of news-based things on the podcast unless it's like fairly big stuff, right? Like we don't do like the smaller like casting announcements and things like that. But this one I think is of significance because, as many of you longtime listeners will know, I am a big fan of Solo, the film, and this sort of pertains to the world of Solo in that regards, because we were talking about the long bandied about, discussed, announced years ago even, Lando Calrissian series. There's been a little bit of development in regards to that. Previously, it was announced that Justin Simeon would sort of be the creative head of that series, sort of bring that show to fruition, bring it to life, get it on the screens for us. And apparently, whatever he was doing or had turned in for the series didn't match with the vision of what Lucasfilm was hoping for. So he is out, and now Donald Glover, Lando Calrissian, young Lando himself, will be one of the head writers for the show, along with his brother Donald. I'm sorry, oh my goodness, as long as his brother Steven, excuse me. And I think that's wonderful. I think they're very talented writers. If you're a fan of Atlanta, you probably know exactly what I mean. They're very, very creative. They think outside the box. They do things a little bit differently, structurally. So I think it could equal a very unique series if Lucasfilm will allow sort of the unconventionalness that the Glovers bring to a lot of their scripted series. So, you know, that remains to be seen. What we'll get, what this tone, vibe, the whole thing for that Lando series will be. But at least for the first time in a while, we got some news regarding it. So we know it's still on the table. I really hope, as I've said before, I really hope that the series will somehow be able to incorporate Billy D while we still have Billy D amongst us. I think that'd be a really fun way to do sort of a young Lando and an old Lando thing. I think it could be just really, really entertaining. if they get a chance to do that in a fun manner. What else is going on with Star Wars news? Well, I was at Comic-Con. That was a lot of fun. Got to go see all the Star Wars things. Obviously the big emphasis for the Comic-Con display, you all saw the pictures, is on Ahsoka coming in just a few weeks now. So the big giant mural was there, all the droids, the models for the ships. It was really, really nice and fun and a lot of cool Star Wars stuff. I picked up some Star Wars merch that I still haven't posted pictures from just yet. I don't know why. I just been sort of, well, I do know why. There's just a lot going on in Mandovision headquarters right now, and so it's made things a little bit more challenging than usual to sort of be on top of things in the way that I'd like to be whenever possible. But yeah, we're just a few weeks away from Ahsoka, and that's sort of the real reason why we're having this little bonus episode of the show, this little baby tiny episode, because I wanted to provide an update to the wonderful people of Buckethead Nation. You guys may remember towards the beginning of the summer, it might have been late in the spring, I mentioned that the summer had some challenges ahead as far as our recording schedule went. By and large, I would like to think that's been fairly undetectable to you wonderful audience members, because since I was able to anticipate the challenges, I was able to work ahead for a good stretch towards the end of the spring before said scheduling challenges would be an issue. So we were able to finish Season 5 of our Star Wars The Clone Wars rewatch, and I think by and large it was fairly seamless without you guys knowing that I had recorded those quite some time ago. Today, as I record this episode for you guys that you'll hear on the 9th, I've not been able to sit in front of the mic and do any recording for, over a month. It's been at least 4 to 5 weeks since I was able to record an episode specifically for the show. I had planned to begin our coverage of Season 6 of the originally aired episodes, and then the Lost missions. We were going to get into all those. But those scheduling challenges became a bit more pronounced, and again, I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty. It's just been challenging. There's been a lot of external forces kind of working against me, and it's not in a bad way. It's just life stuff that has to be handled, and so it's put us in a bit of a spot. And this is all sort of like a long preamble into me saying that there's not going to be a show next week. I know, a lot of talking just to announce that, right? But I wanted to give everyone a heads up, because again, this week, you're only getting this little baby episode, so it's not even a real episode. And then next week, we're just gonna skip. And then the plan will be to have a show once Ahsoka drops. Again, those scheduling challenges were making it hard, but it also didn't seem to make a lot of stylistic sense to kind of start on those first episodes of Season 6 when I knew scheduling-wise we were just going to bump up against Ahsoka. So I decided to hold off on that. I had some other ideas to kind of fill the gap, but again, they just didn't come to fruition. They're still on the table for down the road for nice little episodes that kind of are different in our subject matter, but I'll save those for later, and we will get to them because they are things that pertain to being a Buckethead, being a member, being a fan of the Mandalorians, being a fan of that entire culture and scene. So again, they're on the table. They're just going to get pushed down the road a little bit, so that we can focus on getting the shows out for when Ahsoka's airing. I do not know when shows will drop. I don't even quite know when I'll be able to record those episodes. Now, in my mind, I'm very hopeful that I will get to the first two. They're dropping those first two episodes on the 23rd. I'll be staying up late to watch them, and I'm very hopeful that Wednesday morning, after I've slept, after watching the episodes, I will get up and be able to record my thoughts and impressions and kind of dissect those episodes as we've done in the past for various Star Wars series. Whether that's the reality or not, I guess we'll have to wait and see on that Wednesday. But just know that if it doesn't drop on Wednesday, it will drop soon. The plan is to make sure that we are still weekly with each episode of Ahsoka. It's just kind of a question of like, can I manage to get that episode recorded in time to be out same day, or will it have to be a few days later? I hope to have this a bit more figured out by the time the show drops, and you'll know that day. If the new episode drops into your feed on Wednesday, that means things worked out pretty well and we're good to go. And hopefully that will maintain throughout the run of the season. TBD though, TBD, my friends. And I just came on today to give you guys a heads up so that if anyone is wondering, hey, what happened to Mandovision this week? This is what happened. It's just sort of a life thing that's resulted in some scheduling challenges. But we'll be here every week for Ahsoka, and I hope to have that schedule locked down, and we'll talk about it when we do those first episodes in a little over 2 weeks, right? Just about 2 weeks. So please, I thank you for your patience. I thank you for sticking around and indulging me in this. We try to be as consistent as possible in the podcast, but we're just going to take that week off next week, and I guess technically this week off too, to allow ourselves to get structured and prepared and planned for when Ahsoka drops, and that way we can be fully invested into those episodes. Now, because I recorded the last 5 or 6 episodes of Star Wars: The Clone Wars rewatch so far in advance, that means that those episodes don't have some bits of information in there that I did want to pass along, because back in June, I was able to sit down with our friend Reagan from the Come On It's Still Good podcast, and I was able to do an episode of their show. So if you'd like to go back, find the episode from June 22nd. It's episode 150 of Co is G, the Come On It's Still Good podcast, where I sit down with Reagan and his brothers and their producer E and discuss the 1980s cult classic sci-fi picture Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. It's one of my favorite films. It's just a wild, zany, good time, and I hope you head over and check out our friend's podcast over there because, again, it's a fun episode, and anytime anyone talks about Buckaroo Banzai, my ears always perk up, and I go check it out immediately. So thanks to them for having me on and being so patient with me for getting the plug out almost a month and a half after the episode had dropped. So thanks to those guys. I hope to be able to hang out with them again soon. The good news is, as far as scheduling stuff goes, in the fall, late September, early October, things were going to be changing schedule-wise, and that'll help us on the podcast get back into more of a normal routine. Now, unfortunately, I think it'll be after, or at least towards the very end of the Ahsoka run. So, again, we're going to be a little week to week until that point in September, whenever that happens. But I'll keep you guys posted, and Buckethead Nation continues to be the best listening audience out there. You guys are so kind and supportive, and you're able to indulge me when these little hiccups come up. But I thank you from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of my bucket, for being awesome. And with that being said, I think I'm going to get out of here. Like I said, baby episode. Thanks for listening. As always, your support means the world to me. You are an incredible audience. And now is a time, with the Ahsoka series coming our way, to be prime examples of excellent Star Wars fans. Be inclusive, bring new people in. This is a series that I think can get a lot of new people in touch with Star Wars in a way that they hadn't before. And again, try selling them on the Clone Wars and Rebels, but don't be surprised if they push back a little bit. And just let them come along for the ride. Don't kind of berate them for not watching Clone Wars or Rebels and knowing the history and the lore surrounding Ahsoka. Let them experience the show on their own, and maybe their interest will be piqued on their own. But, you know the old saying, you can lead a horse to the Clone Wars and Rebels, but you can't make him watch him. That's a very popular old adage from back in the day. So keep that in mind. But just encourage people to check out Ahsoka. If they don't want to watch the cartoons, that's their business. But hopefully the series will pique their curiosities. All right? So yeah, let's get out of here. I want to remind you all again that this is the Mandovision podcast, and I thank you so much for all the support. Narguy Tom, find us on social media. We are still on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called. But if you want to send me that invite to Blue Sky, by all means. I'm at Mando_Vision over there. Also at that handle on Instagram, where I do a lot more posting. You can also email the show, mandovisiontom@gmail.com. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, following, and sharing the show with all the Mandalorians in your covert. I would ask for First Suite's 5-star reviews, but probably not this week because this is not going to be an episode that draws people to the show. So that's on me. All right. All right, Bucketheads. I didn't even ask you to strap on your buckets this week because I knew it was going to be such a baby episode that there was not even time to deal with it. But I thank you all for the support, and we will make sure to get our buckets strapped on when Ahsoka drops on August 23rd. I can't wait. I'm very, very excited for the show, and I think we're going to have a lot to talk about when it finally airs. I have been avoiding all the spoiler talk, all the spoiler discussions, all the theorizing about who the Inquisitors are, the connection with the Dark Jedi that we see in the series, all that stuff. I've been avoiding all of it. I'm going into the show clean. I think I've said it before on the podcast. Part of my Star Wars fandom is seeking to recreate that moment from Empire Strikes Back when Darth Vader reveals himself as Luke's father, and just like the hair on your arm and on your neck stands on edge, and you get the goose pimples, and your jaw drops to the floor. I seek to recreate that moment, so I am avidly avoiding spoilers on all Star Wars series. So, yeah, we have this to look forward to. Ahsoka will be out soon. Skeleton Key and Acolyte, they should be moving forward. I don't know what their status is. It sounds like all of them have wrapped filming. So that's the good news, because with the strikes in effect, there's probably not a lot of things happening. I think Andor took a temporary halt of production recently, because I think the strike's gone on far longer than anyone's anticipated for not just the Actors Guild, now not just the Writers Guild originally, but now the actors as well. So we'll see how this all shakes out, but at least we have some Ahsoka to look forward to, and that's where I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole on everything going on with the strikes. That's a conversation for a different show and a different day and a different podcast. All right, Bucketheads, I'll talk to you all soon. Be great Star Wars fans, and we'll be back here the week. I'm going to say that the week that Ahsoka drops, we will be back at some point. Hopefully Wednesday, but bear with me, my friends. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Remember, this podcast, it only ends one way, my friends. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.